Yo, welcome back to my channel. Listen, as always, I'm so glad that you're here. I'm so glad that you're back. Listen, please be sure to like, subscribe, and comment, and please be sure to hit that bell notification so that way you can be notified anytime I upload. Listen, before we get into today's video, listen, you need to be following me on Instagram and you need to be following me on TikTok. Like, why are you not following me? Like, you need to go follow me right now. I do a whole lot of like lifestyle content. I do like product reviews for men. I do a whole lot of, you know, a little bit of fashion content. I do singing covers and I do a whole lot of other stuff. And if you're not into none of that, just follow me and hang out with me, inbox me, chat it up with me, hop in the comments, you know? Yeah, do that. Like, why are you not following me on Instagram and TikTok? You need to be following me now so that way me and you and I can stay connected outside of this platform here. But anyway, as you can tell by the title, today I am going to be talking about dating as a short guy. And I am going to be just answering the questions from my perspective, the question of, does height really matter? Let's get into it. All right, so originally what sparked this video was I had recently last week saw a video by Ron Wills, and if you don't know who Ron Wills is, he is, I don't know if he's the originator, I think he is, but he is a big promoter and a pusher of the whole body game. And, you know, the body game is just simply encouraging men just to get their body right, to be in shape, to be healthy, to look good, to feel good, to have confidence and all of that. And so recently he put out a video where he was talking about, you know, guys that are under 6 feet. And so he was just talking about how today there are a lot of guys who obsess over just, you know, this whole idea that girls or women do not want short guys or women do not want guys that are under 6 feet. And you got some guys who understand that that might be the reality, but you just got some guys who just obsess over it. You know, just obsess. Well, I'm 5'8", I'm 5'8.5". I'm, you know, they just got, you have these guys who are just like driven by, you know, this narrative that women do not like guys that's under 6 feet. And to some guys, you know, they give up. They give up on the whole dating game. They give up on putting themselves out there. They just give up, and it just becomes this whole doom and gloom with them, you know? Ron Wills was just talking about, he was just going against that narrative. He was going against that narrative, and he was just, you know, talking about how a lot of times that's not the case. And he was talking about how if you are under 6 feet, it is not the end of the world for you. It is not even close to the end of the world for you. Like, there is still hope for you out in the, you know, the dating market, out in the dating world. And so I was sitting at my desk at work, and I was looking at that video and I was just like, yo, okay, I'm going to talk about this. And I think what shocked me about me making this video, because I'm going to be honest, like, I never would have thought I would have made a video like this. And if you don't know, I've said it a few times, I am a short guy myself. Like, I am 5'5". You know, I am 5'5", but even though being a short dude and even being 5'5", I just would never thought I would make a video talk about it, only because it is just something that I really never considered. Like, it is just, and I've said it in other videos, like being 5'5" or being short out here on the dating market, it is just something that that's just not an insecurity that I've ever led with. That was never something that I ever felt defeated by. And y'all know my woes and my foes of dating, because I talk about it often on here. But being 5'5" or just being short is just something that I just never considered. And the reason why I say that is because I feel like I have had enough successful interactions, you know, with women to know that there are women out there that find me attractive. Like, you know, I've had enough, you know, I've been called handsome. I've been called, you know, fine. I have had enough successful interactions with the opposite sex to know that there are women out there that find me attractive. And so when I was thinking about this, because I was writing out my notes, even in Ron Wills' video, he makes a statement. He was like, there are some guys out there that are just oblivious to this whole height thing. And it's so funny when he said that, because I was one of them. Like I say all the time, I did not know I was short until somebody told me. And when I say somebody, I mean the internet. Like, it wasn't until I began to come into certain male spaces, online that I start seeing stuff like, you know, game for short dudes, and if you under 5 feet, this is what you need to do, and if you 5 foot, and I'm like, wait a minute, there's game for short dudes? Like, I just thought it was like, you know, information about for men. You know what? We gotta divide now. So I'm gonna be honest, that was something that I just did not know exists. And the reason I say that is because it's just not something that I've ever considered. Like, it's just not an insecurity that I have, you know, led with. I remember when I was, you know, from the ages like 24 to 26, I remember I used to work at this call center. And I kid you not, like, there was always some girl who was like checking for me. And I say that humbly. I say that humbly. And one experience comes to mind is, I'll never forget, it was this girl who, like, she might have been a little bit taller than I am. But she was a little bit taller than I was, probably. And I think at the time I was 24, and I think she was like 29 or something like that. And I would never ever forget this. And, you know, she had just started working there. And I remember, like, I would see her around, you know, around the, you know, the call center floor. And so one day I stepped to her and I was just like, yo, can I get your name? Like, I'm trying to get to know you. And I would never forget, she was like, I ain't talking to niggas right now. I ain't talking to niggas right. Y'all are a joke. And I'll never forget her saying it. And even now, like, I have always been the type of dude that if I approach a girl and she rejects me or she say no, like, I'm never the dude that's like, yo, hey, so what about your day? Like you say no, and I'm going to be like, okay, cool. And so I remember, like, just laying low on her, just being cool on her, not being mad. I didn't ignore it. And I remember I just was okay. I was just cool on her. And I would never forget, like, where her cubicle was. I had to pass her cubicle every day to get to the restroom. And I would never forget, I would never ever forget this. Because at this job, I always kept my hair cut. I didn't have like my hair now. Like, I always had like a low fade. And then back then I was a little bit more muscular. Like, I was very like just buff and then. And I would always wear, like, you know, these fitted dress shirts or whatever. But I always was like clean. I always was very presentable. And I used to walk past her desk every day to get to the restroom. So every time I would walk past her desk to go to the restroom, I would just, you know, I would be polite. I would be like, hey, how's it going? I would either speak to her or I would, you know, be speaking to the other people like around, you know, next to her cubicle. And I always, you know, walked like I was somebody, you know what I'm saying? And I would never forget this particular day. This was about like a month later, or probably weeks or a month later. I was walking to the bathroom and I was just like, and as I was walking past her desk, I might have said like, hello, or hey, how's it going? But when I was coming from the restroom, she slipped me a note, a white piece of paper. She was like, read this when you get back to your desk. And I was like, okay, cool. So she gave me the note and I got back to my desk and the note read, I really like your aura. Now, kid you not, I don't know if y'all gonna find this funny or not, but kid you not, at that time, I probably was like 25, 24, I had never heard the word aura before. I didn't even know what that word meant. I thought she was trying to say, I really like your odor. So I'm like, maybe she meant odor or something. And I will never forget this. I remember sitting at my desk and I had Googled the word aura, and it was just like your presence, like how you carry yourself. And I was like, okay. And that was the first time I ever heard that word. So I was like, okay, like I really like that compliment. So I remember, you know, you do the game, you play the game. So I emailed her and was just like, you know, hey, thanks, whatever. And I think back then we used to email and stuff. And back then I didn't have a car. So I was on my way home. And I think she had asked me did I want to ride home? Make a long story short, me and the girl start talking. And this girl literally said to me, yeah, you be teasing me when you be walking, you know, through the office and I be seeing how the other girls be looking at you. Yeah, you always in somebody's face. And I was like, what? And I would never forget her saying that. She was like, just how you be walking. I was just like, I'm just being myself. Like, I'm just being me. And so, you know, the girl turned out to be crazy. And I remember it was this other girl. Like, it was this other girl. I never forget, her name was Samantha. Like, Samantha was fine. Woo! Like, this girl was slim, thick. She was, woo! Body was on 10. Whole other situation. She was cute. She was gorgeous. And at the time, I had a girlfriend. But that's a whole nother story. At the time, I was with my girlfriend. But this girl named Samantha on the job, like, we would always cross paths. And I used to be like, who is that? But I was, you know, in a relationship. Make a long story short, the girl Samantha, like, literally slipped me her number and was like, and back then, I ain't gonna lie. Back then, I didn't have no game. I didn't have no car. So I was like, how am I gonna see this girl? You know, I was dumb back then. But anyway, but I say all of that to say, like, during those times, I would have never even considered my height. Like, because they didn't, you know what I'm saying? I never would have even considered, you know, the fact that I was 5'5" or the fact that I was short. Like, even as a musician, I remember not too long ago, I had a show where I was singing a song, and I say all the time, I think I said this in another video, it was a girl who was there. Like, the girl was cute. She came up to me and was just like, you know, you're so muscular, you know, and the girl was like my height. And it's just like, and there have been other experiences like that. So I say all that to say, my height in my 20s and in my 30s I have been insecure about other things. I have always been insecure about other things, like in the past, but my height has never been one of them.
Yo, what's going on? So if you don't know me, I said this in another video, I absolutely hate when creators stop a video to do a voiceover. I absolutely hate it. But anyway, I had to stop and do this because I meant to put this in a video, but I wanted just to clarify that another overall reason why I just don't ever consider my height as a insecurity is because, not only because, you know, of, you know, success or, you know, compliments from the opposite sex, but just because of how I feel. Like, there are days where when I'm, you know, feeling good, I'm dressed up, you know, I'm on my way somewhere and I'm fresh and I'm clean, I got a fresh cut. Being 5'5" just don't never cross my mind because I just feel too fresh, like I feel too good. So that confidence, you know, in spite of my height, also comes from within. So I just wanted to drive that home, not only because of the opposite sex, but it also comes from me. But that's it. Keep enjoying the video.
But on the flip side of that, I also know what it is to be rejected because of height. Like, if you watched my last video, I talked about how I was on the Kendra G show. And I talked about how it was this cute girl, you know, from Dallas. She was, you know, she's a little bit younger. And the girl literally went out of her way to inbox me and to tell me that, you know, she asked me about my experience on the show. But the girl literally was, like, she said she was 5'4". And the girl literally said to me, you know, I only date guys that are 5'11". You know, so I know what it feels like. There was one girl that I had matched with on Bumble during the pandemic, and me and this girl, we didn't really like hit it off or anything, but we began to be connected on social media. And what's funny is, me and the girl, we just will always run into each other, whether it was at a store, whether it was at a bar, whether it was at a party. Like, I literally just ran into this girl. I was volunteering at the free store in my city, and I ran into her. Like, I ran into her name was Kayla, and I was like, yo, Kayla, what's going on? And it's so funny because we always run into each other. Now, me and her matched on Bumble, but it didn't go anywhere. The girl is engaged or whatever. But me and her began to be really connected on social media. And she had shared one of her friends. And I literally said to her, I was like, I inboxed her. I was like, yo, put me on with your friend, you know. And her friends wasn't even all of that. I was just being thirsty. And this was like last year. I was like, yo, put me on with your friends. She was like, okay, I'm putting a good word for you. So what's funny about, it was last year I ran into her. Might have been early. No, it was earlier this year, actually. It was earlier this year. I had ran into her at Target, and she was like, so, you know, I tried to put you on with 3 of my friends. She was like, you know, how do I say this? You know, they have a height requirement. And I was just like, okay, it's cool. And she was like, I don't get it because you're not that short. Because me and her, I think me and Kayla are the same height. She's like, you're not that short. It's stupid. It's dumb. I don't get it. I thought that was just a couple experiences. So I know what it feels like to, you know, have to be rejected because of height. And so what I'm not going to do is, I'm not here to gaslight you. Like, I'm not here to do the whole gaslight thing of like, oh, it's not a thing. Let me actually say, it is a problem. Like, you know, it is an issue. There are a lot of men that are being rejected because of their certain height. This whole, it is a thing. Recently, there was a girl who had kind of went viral, and I think the Shade Room and the Neighborhood Talk or somebody, one of those gossip blogs on the internet, they had picked it up, and the girl, she had went viral on TikTok, and she was just, you know, talking about how she's never, you know, the pretty girl, how she's never the pretty girl in her group. Come to find out, people had like researched her page, they had followed her page, and you know, she was a bigger girl. And it was people, so many people that was in the comments that was just like, oh, you just need confidence, you know, you just need confidence, you just, you know, you need confidence, you need confidence. And she was just talking about how she was always rejected. She was never the one that was chosen. And so somebody made a comment, I will never forget, in the comment section, they was just like, why isn't, it was a guy actually, he was like, y'all always love telling big men and telling short guys that, oh, they just need confidence. And I like to comment, I was like, yo, that's true. Here's my thing, telling somebody, when somebody's expressing like, hey, that this is a problem, or hey, this is how I'm dealt with in society, or this is how I am received in society, and you come back with, oh, just have confidence. But sometimes it can come off like in an attempt to be avoidant of, you know, their reality, or a true reality that is, you know, the reality across the board sometimes. And so it's almost like, and I'm getting off on a tangent, but it's almost like there was this, I never forget, there was this girl who was on YouTube, and she had a whole video, you know, talking about colorism. And she was just telling these dark-skinned black women like, oh, colorism is just, you know, you just got to be confident. You just got to be confident. If a guy ain't choosing you, it's because you're not confident. I'm like, that is the dumbest response ever. Like, it is real. It's the same thing with, you know, being rejected because you're overweight, or it's the same thing with being rejected simply because you're short, you know? So it is a real thing. Like, that is a thing. It can be a thing that causes you to be, you know, to be sad, to be depressed. It is a real thing. In a practical sense, what I will say, because I had a friend, she was talking to me, and she was like, Mark, I think one of the reasons why, this is why you don't consider it so much, is simply because, you know, you have a nice body, you have a nice build. And I will say, I have been complimented, you know, throughout the years on my body and on my physique more than I have been, you know, verbally rejected because of my height, if that makes sense. So for me, and I'm not talking about you, if you're a dude that's watching this and you 5'4", and you 5'5", and you 5'8", and you 5'9", like, I'm not talking about you, but this is just for me. One of my practical keys is simply, I just believe I cannot be short and fat. That's just me. I'm not pushing it on you, but for me, that's one of my practical things is this. It's like, I like the fact that I am in the gym 6 days a week, getting it in. I'm shredding pounds, and you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm muscular. You know, I heard, like, I was funny because I was at Walmart the other day, a few weeks ago actually, and it was a girl. She was outside of her car, and she was like, "Muscle, look at your muscle." She said something like that, and I was walking into Walmart. You know how the Target would have never done no stuff like that. You know, the lady would have walked up to me. No, I'm joking. So for me, one practical key that I take in is just, I'm in the gym every day. Like, I take care of my body. Like, so that's just me. I will say this, because the real reason why I wanted to make this video is first to acknowledge that it is real. The whole height thing, the whole being rejected because you're short, of course it's real. We see it in media. We see it, we hear it in songs. We hear it in all this whole city girl culture. We hear it, you go on the Kendra G show, almost every girl on there is like, I want a tall guy, I want a tall guy. But let me just say this, two things I will say. Choose who choose you. Choose who choose you. If you are a guy that's on the shorter end, choose who choose you. And what you got, and in order to do that, you got to believe that there is a woman out there that just do not care that you are a short dude. So if this looks a little different, I don't even know what I was saying. My battery died. But basically what, like I said, my practical tip is, for me, is to physically stay in shape. You know what I'm saying? But two things that I want to, you know, that if I was to talk to somebody one-on-one, the first thing I would say, as it relates to this whole narrative that, you know, women only want tall guys, and, you know, women are rejecting, you know, short guys. And I mean, and as we see over and over, that is proven to be true in certain aspects and certain examples. But one thing I will say is, choose who choose you. You know, and like, as I was saying before, you, in order to do that, like, you have really got to believe that there is a woman, there is a girl that's out there that doesn't mind that you're the height, that doesn't mind that you are the height that you are. And I think, like, when I say choose who choose you, if a girl is giving you a chance because you are a good dude, but you're short, but you are a good dude and you have a good character, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Like, if this girl have blatantly told you before that she date guys that are 6'3" and 6'2", and you are 5'6", but she's giving you a chance, you know, because you have a good heart. No, because let me tell you, as soon as that new hire come in at her on her job, that is 6'3", And if he, you know, tried to, you know, engage with her, and if she's like kind of on the fence about dating you, brother, she might not be there for long. And I'm not saying that's all women, but I'm just saying, like, me personally, I just wouldn't set myself up for that. Like, you know, so you got to choose who choose you wholly and totally. You know, all of this, well, you're a nice guy, but I usually only date. Nope, that's a red flag. So that's just me. And then number two, you got to watch what you're taking in. Like all of the media, if you're sitting around watching videos about how women don't like short guys and how women only, man, listen, that stuff, it'll ruin your faith. Like I said before, I didn't know I was short until somebody told me. And when I started getting into all of these like male spaces that I started hearing videos about, you know, dating as a short guy, there were moments that I started to feel like, man, am I doomed? Like, you know, and I had to remind myself, like, the reality, you know, because anybody can come online and say, this is how dating is today. But you can go to the local Target right today and you will see a short dude with a girl who is fine, who's gorgeous, his same height. Or you will go out to the local Walmart, I don't know. You'll go to your local church. You'll go to the library. You'll go to the zoo. You'll go to the club this weekend if that's your thing. And you will see a short dude in there with a girl who's a little bit taller than him. Because that's just the reality of it. Like, it's the same thing with like saying like men don't like big women. Listen, you'll go to the grocery store, you will see a big dude, you'll see a big girl, you know, a girl who is, you know, heavier with a skinny dude. Because reality is reality. Reality is reality. So you gotta keep putting yourself out there. You gotta keep putting yourself out there and choose who's choosing you, and understand that a lot of times what you hear is not always reality. It's just not. And the real reason why I wanted to make this video is for the simple point of a lot of times when I come across these videos that talk about how dating is so unrealistic and dating is so hard for, you know, guys that are under 6 feet, and you know, dating is, if you're 5'5", you know, dating is over. And if you're 5'6", don't even think about it. And if you're 5'4", a lot of times what happens is, I notice that a lot of times what happens in the comments, there is always this over explanation or this explaining to the extreme for when people go against that message. And what I mean by that, even on Ron Will's video that I watched last week, there was people in the comments like, man, you right, Ron Wills, it's not over for short guys, because my coworker Don, he 5'3", and he got about 6 of them on the job just going crazy over him. Like, you right, bro, because my cousin Justin is 5'6", Ron Wills, and he be slaying them. He got a different one there every night. My neighbor is a little bit shorter than I am. It be a different girl over there every weekend. And there's always this over explanation to the extreme to show how a short guy can have 10 of them on, you know, on standby, just like the tall guy. You know, a short guy can be out here slaying them and, you know, just be with a different girl every night, just like tall guys. And it brought me back to this whole thought, the reason why I wanted to make this video. I think what is ultimately going to help you if you're feeling like it's over and I can't get a girl and girls don't want me because I'm 5'3", I'm 5'5", and I'm 5'8", I'm 5'9". I think what ultimately is going to determine your fate or going to determine your results and your reality is just the question of, what do you value? What do you value? What really matters to you? And that is a question I have to ask myself, like, at this point in your life as a man, what matters to you? And I think this is something that you have to be honest about, because if what matters to you the most at this point in your life is female validation, and if what matters to you at this point in your life is living out a life of lust where you're just, you know, knocking a different one down there at night, and you just, you know, female validation, then you're going to always try to, you know, compete and try to date like the guy that is 6'4", who can just, you know, get a different one every night. Like, for me personally, I feel like it keeps me humble. You know, I know for a fact maybe my dating experience may not be as successful as the guy that is 6'3", who's good looking, tall, and whatever, you know, because he can probably just walk into a room and command a presence. And I'm not saying I haven't done that, but it's not like that for me all the time. You know, there are some times I walk in and girls are like, and And I have actually walked into a room where I've actually, one time I was at this bar and I literally heard this girl. She was cute. She was like, "Ooh, he fine." But you know what happens is it keeps me humble. It keeps me humble because what I value at this point in my life is I'm not at this point where I'm trying to live out my lust, or I'm trying to have a different one every night. Let me tell you something. You don't need 20 women. You just need one. You know, women don't like men. All women are like, oh, well, you're not trying to date all women. You're just trying to date one. And it's funny because I never see in the comment sections of those videos, I never see a comment that's like, you know, this is true. It's not over because my coworker is 5'6". My coworker is 5'5", and he just married, you know, this beautiful girl who's attractive, and you know, they're about to have a kid. They're happy. They're traveling. It's never that wholesome. It's always got to be my cousin June, 5'3", bro. He be knocking them down, man. Let me tell you, it's always this attempt to prove that the tall guys can be out here being immoral and they don't have a moral code. And I'm not saying they don't, but you know, they can be out here knocking them down. They can be living out their lust. We can do it too. But you have to ask yourself, what do I value? Is my value in this point of life to obey God and to live a life that is holy, to live a life that is clean, that is pure? Because if that's what I value, then my prayer is different. So my prayer becomes, and my thought becomes, listen, I know God can produce at least one girl out here that appreciate a guy that is 5'5". I know there's one fine, attractive, wholesome, godly, nurturing, nice girl, one that's out here for me. But if you're constantly chasing, I'm trying to be like him, I'm trying to have a different one every night, then you're going to always be frustrated. You're going to always compare yourself. You're going to always come up with this narrative that women don't like short guys because you're trying to do the same thing as somebody who is, you know, your opposite, as somebody who is like, who may be more pleasing to those type of women that require that.
And and let me just clarify another thing. It's me again. Another thing I wanted to clarify. I am not saying that only tall guys are the only one that can have multiple women, because there are guys that are my height that are out here doing the same thing. So I'm not just saying like if that's what you truly desire, that you just want to have a different one every night, and my video is not giving you the hope to do so. That is not what I'm saying, because there are guys that are 5'4", 5'3", 5'5", 5'6" that are out here doing that. I'm just saying for me, that is not what I desire at this point in my life. And I am just saying for somebody who is truly on a proper path, on maybe a Christian path, on a purity path, to not live out that type of lifestyle, that's what I'm saying. Then you have to, you know, keep that desire in check and check what you truly value at this point in your life. That's all I'm saying.
And so a lot of times I always have to ask myself, what do you value? I love the fact in my life right now that, like I said, I've had enough experiences where I've been called fine, sexy, and muscular and all that, handsome. I like that, but that don't happen every day. Meanwhile, I know a guy who probably is 6'4", and that's happening to him every day. That don't happen to me every day. But because that's not where my value is, my hope is that every day I wake up, there's a girl who's at the gas station, at the church, at my job, you know, at the grocery store, that's telling me I'm sexy and she wants to sleep with me every night. That's not my value. So then when it do happen, I'm like, okay, you feeling me? Thank you, you feeling me? But when it don't happen, I'm like, you know, that's cool. Because one thing I want to do, I'm going to continue to be in the gym. I'm going to continue not to consider my height as an insecurity or as a flaw. And then I'm going to continue to choose who choose me. And at the same time, I'm going to continue to monitor the information I take in. I'm not going to be on the internet all day talking about, yeah, y'all right. These women out here, they are trash. I'm not going to do that. But I'm also going to keep in line my values and my morals. And it's not to live a life that is out here of just being morally unclean, just being morally wild, just so I can prove that, hey, I'm 5'5", but I can do it too. So, nah. Let I was in Kroger. I was in my grocery store yesterday, and it was a dude. He was walking past me. Dude was literally the same height, and I literally said to myself, "I know dude be pulling them." You know what I'm saying? I know dude be pulling them. Like, you know, and I had nothing funny about that. But he was just a clean cut dude. He had a dress. He was you know, nicely dressed. And I was like, man, I know bro be pulling them. And I was getting ready for this video. I was like, see, that's my point. It's not over for us. It's not over for us. But yeah. That's the video that I wanted to do. If you like this video, please, my battery is about to die. But anyway, if you like this video, please be sure to like, subscribe, and to comment. And let me know your thoughts. To all my short guys, let me know your thoughts about this in the video. And I will catch y'all in the next video. Peace.